Hi, Mark here. It is Thursday, August the 20th, almost 8 a.m. Eastern. US session about to get underway. Let's have a look at the US dollar performance and where we stand now. Starting on the US dollar index, and there you see the extreme and the strong sell of yesterday, the decline in yields, the somewhat bearish uh, Fed minutes all contributed to a weak US dollar yesterday. Continued today through the Asian European session, going into the US session. This red candlestick, the body was all the way down to support, but there you see the wick at the bottom. That's the US dollar fighting back today. Yesterday, when we did the morning report at the US Open, also weak US dollar we saw yesterday, wondering if it'll fight back, but didn't fight back yesterday and just got weaker throughout the day. Today, an attempted fight back. There's the wick at the bottom of this body. I've got support at 98.46. I've got resistance at 98.82. So we'll see whether the US dollar does fight back today and can erase the earlier losses from today and maybe go even into yesterday's losses and try and gain some ground. Let's have a look how that looks on our with the majors, euro against the US. And there you see the strong uptrend, buying euro, selling US dollar. There's yesterday's strong green candlestick, higher highs, higher lows today. However, you will see the wick at the top of this body, and that looks like a potential turnaround that's selling euro, buying US, US fighting its way back. I've got resistance at 117.11. I've got support at 116.69. I'm going to zoom in on the hourly chart, and there you see the turnaround in the last couple of hours. In the previous hour, that's a bearish engulfing candle on the hourly, a strong bearish sign. EMA is crossing to the downside, and in this hour, it has continued. So US dollar is putting in some kind of a fight back. Sellers of euro, buyers of US will look to test this support level at 116.69. If unable to continue and it's US dollar weakness, buyers, of course, will look up at this resistance at 117.11. Let's have a look at the pound against the US on the daily chart. There you see the green candlestick today. That's buying pound, selling US, a continuation of US dollar weakness. I've got support at 135.94. I've got resistance at 136.56. But again, a wick at the top of this body today. If I zoom in on the hourly, there you see the attempted fight back by the US. Have just taken out the low of this green candlestick. That's significant. We'll see if sellers can continue and look back down at this support level, or if we're going to get a continuation of dollar weakness and buyers step in, buying pound, selling US, and look back up at this intraday resistance level. Let's have a look at the US against the yen. That's the daily chart. And there you see the US fight back today, looking good against the yen, and the current price is right. The body is at this intraday resistance level, testing that level right now. I've got support at 158.17. I've got resistance at 158.73, and there's the US bouncing up off the support level, looking to get back above this 158.73, back to 159 or higher. So that's if the US can maintain this fight back now that the US session is underway, or if we get a continuation of dollar weakness, sellers step in, bounce down off this level, and look back down at the support at 158.17. But certainly US making a nice comeback attempted bounce up now that the US session is underway. Let's have a look at the US against the Canadian. US struggling to fight back against the Canadian. Strong push yesterday, selling US, buying Canadian, continuing today. I've got intraday resistance at 138.14. I've got intraday support at 137.54. And there's the solid red candlestick, small wick at the bottom. So US attempted fight back, hasn't amounted to much yet. Let's have a look at the hourly. And there you can see how the US is struggling to fight back against the strong Canadian. There's the bounce, but unable to push higher and now hanging around in the last couple of hours at this 137.68. If the US can make its way back and fight back against the Canadian, we'll be looking up at this resistance first to get back to that 138 or and higher. Alternatively, selling US, buying Canadian, US dollar weakness, we'll see sellers come back down to the support, perhaps even lower. Certainly worth noting that the Canadian strength has been and is being aided by the the oil price, and oil creeping higher over the last couple of days, hang around that $90 level, but the bias is tilted to the upside for now. Strong oil equals strong Canadian, and that certainly is aiding and helping the Canadian dollar maintain this strength. So the situation we're in right now is very similar to what we had yesterday, where we had weak US dollar through the Asian into the European session, into the US, into the start of the US. But the US was unable to fight back. Fundamentals counted against the US, and US dollar weakness continued throughout the US session. We're now going into the US session today. We're going to see whether the US can fight back, whether it's able to recoup some losses from earlier today and from yesterday, or whether we see a continuation of dollar weakness and dollar sellers step in against the majors again, and we see the continuation of those trends. Either way, we need our resistance support levels to work with. We have those levels right now. Good trading, and I'll see you at the end of day.